Hi, friends. Good news for you is that I actually updated an episode on time this week. And even better news is that I have a super fun guest. And even better news than that is that we talked a lot about pasta and Italy, which for me is pretty much as good as it gets. I talked to Nadia Munno, who you may recognize as the Pasta Queen if you are one of her 3.2 million followers on TikTok. Me and Nadia talked European hotspots, her career before becoming your beloved foodie queen, and what she has coming next. So please join me in welcoming the one, the only Pasta Queen, also known as the lovely Nadia.
One, two, three, four.
So, hello, and thank you for coming on. I'm really excited to talk to you.
Awesome. Me too.
You look gorgeous, by the way. Your dress and
Thank you.
everything.
Yeah, I'm about to shoot a recipe, so I'm all ready. Pasta queen
Oh,
ready.
okay. Yeah, see, I am just podcast ready. So,
You look gorgeous.
thank you. Thank you. So, we chatted back, I was looking back, it was in February over the phone. That seems like forever ago, but you were headed to the South Beach Wine and Food Festival.
Yes, that was amazing.
Yeah.
And
It was so long ago.
I that was the first time they had FoodieCon, and it was a
Um,
smashing success. And it was also exported to the New York Wine and Food Festival, which I was a part of.
oh,
Yeah, in
fun.
October. So that was nice.
That's so fun. I'm always attending those food festivals and eating probably way too much.
Tell me about it.
But
Mm.
so I want to get into your food background. I was reading through your website and you mentioned learning how to cook as a little girl with your Nana while watching telenovelas, which
Oh,
is so
yeah,
cute.
absolutely.
What's the earliest memory you have of cooking and genuinely loving it?
So, as you probably know, I come from a long line of pasta makers. So
Hmm.
when I was a little kid, I was born in Rome, but then my parents moved on my grandfather's farm, and I spent between the ages of 2 years old to almost 6 years
Okay.
old with my grandparents on the farm. And so I, as far as I can remember, the first time I can remember, it probably happened even earlier than that, but I was about 5 years old making gnocchi on this really old pasta board with my nonna Caterina, which I'm named after, and going
Oh,
to the land, going harvesting wheat and different type of crops, and making wine. So, you know, your typical Italian family, but make it a little extra with the fact that we were in the farming industry. My grandfather
okay.
was the deputy mayor of this little village, and he was also the president of the Agricultural Association for the region of Campania,
Oh,
which is where Naples basically is the region where Naples is the capital. And
okay.
so, because of the land that have been in our family since the late 1700s, we have provided crops and produce to the entire region. In the 1800s, specifically, there was this little pasta factory, even before machinery and the big industries
Hmm.
started. My family started this business, which was first to feed their families. But because of the amount of land and wheat they had, they started providing for the village. And then, as if that wasn't enough, the flour was then given to also other pasta factories in their area. And you have, the city of pasta of Gragnano, which is about 20 minutes away from where my grandparents live. And so we
Hmm.
have been in this wheat agricultural industry forever. So as far as we can track it back, we have been doing that
Mhm.
as a family.
Wow, that's incredible. My family is from Calabria, but I haven't been.
Well, Calabria is
So,
absolutely beautiful.
is
Funnily
it?
enough, I have a cousin from Calabria, and their
Okay.
food style, their ingredients are very genuine. The
Mhm.
seaside is gorgeous, really one of the most gorgeous all over Italy.
Really?
Yes, one of the most gorgeous. You can ask Italians. Calabria is totally a hidden gem that people don't usually know to go, but the
They
Italians
know.
know to go there.
I didn't, yeah, that's the one place I didn't get to visit. That and Puglia. I heard Puglia is
Oh,
stunning.
Puglia is amazing. I was there in May, so
Really?
I got to see my side of the family,
Uh-huh.
which is, when I was a little kid, my parents separated. My mom went back to Rome,
Okay.
and my dad, started a relationship with my stepmother, my now stepmother,
Mhm.
who is from Puglia.
Oh,
So they ended up buying this, your typical pointed
oh,
roofed
nice.
homes, and we would spend the summers there in this piece of land with olive trees, and it, right by the seaside.
Uh-huh.
It's one thing I love about Puglia, like you have the farms and the land ending right on the rocks. So
Oh,
you'll have all olive trees that kind of borderline with the coastal. It's a coastal region.
oh, that
It's
sounds,
all on the coast.
yeah.
So they have the most amazing extra virgin olive oil.
Oh, I believe that.
So good. And then you drink a little extra virgin olive oil and then you dive into the sea.
Hey, that sounds like heaven for me right there.
It really is heaven. I think that that's why Italy is so loved, because the towns are so varied, and you can have mountains, you can have hills, you can have coastal towns, you have volcanoes, you have the most amazing soil because of the volcanoes,
Hmm.
and it's so rich. The land, the soil is so enriched, and the food tastes so good because of it.
Right, exactly. I so lemon trees, that would be kind of Amalfi Coast, and then the olive trees are
Yeah, you have Amalfi, Sorrento
okay.
Peninsula. That's where you have your greatest, juiciest lemons,
Mhm.
the famous giant lemons. There are a lot sweeter than the ones I've tasted in the US because of, again, the composite
Yes.
soil mineral content, and like everything is made with lemons. I was in Sorrento in June, and I went to visit a friend of a
Mhm.
friend of my Michelin star chef friend that lives there.
Oh, love.
Brought me to the oldest lemon grove of Sorrento,
Wow.
and they have these shops where they make everything with lemons: soap bars, lotions, liqueurs, cookies, cakes, pasta with lemons, everything.
Oh, that
So
sounds
it's
nice.
it's such a treat to see these ingredients used in so many different ways.
Oh, yeah, I know. When I was there, I had a lemon risotto. Risotto is chef's kiss. So good.
So good.
It is.
Yeah, I have a lemon risotto I'm working on too. It's delicious.
Ooh. I'll look out for it. Or is that what you're recording after this?
No, today I'm shooting a recipe which will be out in a couple of weeks, which is to do, it's like a pasta soups with mussels and beans.
Oh, I
Very
love mussels.
unusual, very southern Italian,
Hmm.
very, yeah, very special to me because of it's a classic from where I'm from.
Do you go back to visit every summer?
Yeah, I try to go in the spring and the fall. Do not go in the summer.
Yeah, it's so hot.
You know, the locals will know, and as you know, you might have heard, Italy shuts down at the end of July until the beginning of September because of such high temperatures. So many shops in town are shut down. Nobody works because the heat is so intense, especially in the southern parts of Italy, because we are so close to North Africa. We get the Sahara Desert winds
Oh,
and
wow.
heat waves. And so, the Italians just don't work, and they tend to go outside in their, summer homes by the coastal towns.
Okay. Yeah, I spent last summer there and I left right in the beginning of July, but it was getting to 100 degrees and I did not have air
Yeah.
conditioning.
Yeah, down I spent my last time I did that, I was in Puglia, and I ended up visiting my grandmother, Michelina, there, and it was end of July, beginning of August, and it got to 46 Celsius, which is probably 120 or
Oh,
100. Let me just
that's,
have a look. I'm very curious, but it's very, very hot. And I had my baby with me. She was
oh,
only 6 months, and the Italians are not so into air conditioning like
I've
here
learned.
in the States. They use these like really like old fans that
Hmm.
really don't do nothing,
Yep.
but they're so used to the heat that they can survive. But I will never spend another summer in the South again.
No,
It's
no.
dangerously high heat.
I remember there was a heat wave and I was staying in an Airbnb for a few months and he goes, "Oh, I left you guys fans outside because we don't have air conditioning." The fans did absolutely nothing. I was just dripping sweat the
No,
whole time.
it's worse because it circulates hot air.
Yeah, it's worse. Not great.
Not great.
No, not at all. I will never do that again. But I do love Italy. So I'll just
Yeah,
go back.
like my tip would be to go between the months of April and May.
Okay.
You could push it to the beginning of June, up to mid June, and then you have to get out.
Yeah.
And then I would go again end of September to beginning of November. Perfect weather.
All right. My sister's studying abroad there next semester, so I'll have to visit her. Perfect timing. Was there a staple recipe that you often made with your grandma since you're kind of cooking with her a lot?
So my grandma being Neapolitan,
Mm-hmm.
the biggest things I would say are the meat sauces and the ragouts.
Okay.
So ragu is just basically a braising of meats and vegetables for long hours.
Okay.
It really is a feast of flavors and ingredients together that are cooked for a long time. So I would I would say my biggest takeaway is the bubbling sounds of these
Mm-hmm.
meat sauces that cook for hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say my meat sauce, my lasagna, my pasta bakes with the meatballs, but also the braciole ragu. I don't know if you know, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like a meat roll that kind
Okay.
of cooks in tomato sauce for a long time, so that meat roll is usually either veal or beef in my family. In Puglia, they also use other type of meats, which I will not be discussing because it
Okay.
can put people off. But
Okay.
it's that really tenderizing of the meat by the long cooking process. And that's really like the grandma style Neapolitan way, this very gorgeous, tender, melting in your mouth meat sauces
That
that
sounds
are
incredible.
to die for.
I know, that sounds incredible. I feel like I always end up just opting for a bolognese because it's so easy and it doesn't take as long.
Yeah, a bolognese, you see, here in America, anything meaty sauce is called bolognese. That's what I've noticed. But a
Yeah, I've
bolognese,
noticed that too. You said ragu.
brava,
Yeah.
bolognese itself is like a registered recipe in
Right.
the region of Emilia Romagna, and it calls for specific ingredients which must be employed for it to be called bolognese. They are so they're so passionate about
Mhm.
it that they've registered in the town as a sauce, an ingredient list that cannot be messed with. Now, in
Wow.
any other parts, every other family, obviously, they have their own meat sauce, which
Hmm.
we call ragu, which, every family has their own secret sauce, that thing, secret
Hmm.
sauce. But yeah, so the Neapolitan sauces are very different than the Bolognese. Like in the Bolognese, you use milk, for example, and
Okay.
and you have to use specific ingredients, specific cuts of meats, and all of that. But yeah, I would say that in America, the Bolognese is what we consider your family's Sunday sauce.
Right. No, you're totally correct because when you said ragu, I was thinking those are interchangeable with bolognese, but it's totally different.
Yeah, Bolognese is considered a ragu sauce because ragu is
Yeah.
really a methods of cooking. It's
Right.
like it really is this braised veggie and meat, usually that goes on for a long time, type of sauce. But then the bolognese has to be specific.
Okay. I'm headed home for the holidays, and my dad has some lasagna ready and waiting, so I'm very excited.
Yay!
My favorite. My favorite. I've been cooking for myself. I want him to cook for me too.
Yeah, I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. I'm excited. I'll send you a picture of the
Please do. Yeah.
lasagna. This might be an Italian American thing, but did you grow up eating pastina when you weren't feeling well?
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely a very Italian thing that
Okay.
that that I'm glad that continued as a tradition all over the world. Italian descendants, they the pastina is like the ultimate comfort food.
It is. Put a little
Pastina
butter in.
is like your antibiotic.
Yeah.
Whatever you got going on physically and emotionally, pastina can cure it all.
That's what I was told growing up, so it has to be
Totally.
true.
Yeah, and every culture has their own, how would you say it? Their own thing, their own dishes, or even
Mhm.
I think that when you see, have you watched Jane the Virgin, which is one of my favorite TV shows ever?
I haven't, but I know the plot.
Yeah, so you gotta watch it. I think I watched it
Okay.
5 times over. Like,
I heard it's a good show.
yeah, because it's like the ultimate telenovela.
Mm.
Um, there's so many plot twists or whatever, but there was one thing that happens all the time, and I think it's they rub vapor rub
Oh,
whenever there's anything, even when they're like distressed emotionally or whatever. I
mm.
feel that I could relate to that with pastina.
With Castina.
Just
I
eat
honestly
pastina.
can't. Well, yeah, you just put a little butter and Parmesan cheese, and it's
Yeah,
incredible.
it's the best. And like, to me, my kids will have pastina even in the summer because they like it so much.
Oh, so will I. I'll have it any time of the year.
Exactly.
Fixes all your problems.
Yes.
So what made you move to the States? 'Cause you're in Florida now, right?
Yes. So I
Okay.
was at first, I lived in Rome. My kids were born in Rome. I wanted to make sure that they were born in the same town I was born. It's very
Aw.
important to me to have them
Mhm,
really connected to their, where they came from, where I'm from,
mhm,
and also really be around family. They were very little. I had my parents, my grandparents, my great grandparents. Everybody was
mhm.
involved. And then for work reason, my husband and I decided to move to the UK because he's British. So my kids are
Okay.
both they're nationals of both countries. So they're
Oh, that's
British.
amazing.
Yeah, we got them a British passport, even though
Uh-huh.
they were born in Italy because of their dad and their grandparents. And so we ended up going to South London, which is where my husband is from. We
Okay.
continued our marketing company. We started working in Italy, and then our clients were primarily English speaking because my husband and I, he didn't speak as much as Italian as he speaks now, but for him it was impossible to work
Right.
with Italian speaking clients because it wasn't his primary language. So we moved to London, to South London, in the countryside. So I lived in East Sussex, which I absolutely adore. It's like, the story of Winnie the Pooh?
Mhm.
We lived by Winnie the Pooh's bridge, which is
Oh.
what inspired the writer to write that story. So you can imagine
Oh.
it's like a fairy tale in the English countryside, and I felt for the kids was so good to be outside of the hustle of the city, but very close to London. Like you can get to London in
Right.
30 minutes. So for work, we worked with like several London-based companies, and we were partner with several London-based companies, and then within a year or so, we got clients on the East Coast, and they were
Okay.
very big accounts, probably the
Mhm.
biggest accounts that we've ever had as entrepreneurs in our own business. And we decided that it was a smart business move to move to America. So we had to do a whole process of opening a franchise office, getting our business visas. It took months and months and months to get that going. Moved the entire family, and my husband's had lived in the Tampa Bay area with his mom when he was a kid, with his parents both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he still had childhood friends in this area. We came and
Oh.
visited with the kids, and I can tell you, when I went to the Gulf of Mexico, and it was March, I remember March 2015, I brought the kids. We went from England. It was freezing in March,
Oh.
still freezing. We
Mhm.
came to Tampa Bay. We got the kids to the beach, to the coastal part with the Gulf of
Uh-huh.
Mexico. It was the most gorgeous sunset I've ever seen.
Oh, their sunsets are incredible.
I was like, the breeze was the same temperature of my body, even at
Mhm.
11 p.m. at night. The kids were outside playing in the water. And I looked at myself, I'm like, now I have to go back to England. And although
Uh-huh.
I love my gorgeous Ashdown forest,
Mhm.
I could never take the kids out because it was
Yeah.
so cold and always rainy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think it's good for the kids to live indoor all the time because it's that cold. And my husband is like a Viking type because of his heritage. He's Anglo-Saxon
Uh,
and he
okay.
loves the cold weather. But I,
Mm.
been born and raised in the south of Italy, I'm a total Mediterranean, high heat tolerant and very low cold tolerance. Like I get really sad when it's too cold.
Yeah. So do I. I moved. to the West Coast from the East Coast,
Yeah,
and I have to go back now, and I'm gonna be freezing.
yeah. And the sun factor, the amount of sunshine where we
Mhm.
lived, in the UK was it was primarily gray skies the entire year.
Oh,
For me, the sun is life, and it's like what gives life to everything, right?
right.
Including
It affects your mood.
it's so, and I later found out there's studies that confirm
Mhm.
like the lack of sun and the moods of people, and I'm like, babe, we gotta go to Florida. This is gorgeous.
Oh, it's so pretty. Yeah, my grandparents used to live in Florida, but I still have some family right near Tampa. And I specifically remember one sunset that was just so magical and colorful and vibrant. And I don't think I'll ever forget it. It was
That's
just
right.
so pretty.
It's so pretty, and the fact that you can stay like on the beach up to the early hours of the morning, and the
Mhm.
water temperature is always kind of warm.
Yeah.
I've only seen it in the movies as an Italian, because we get the movies about America, and I've
Mhm.
seen a lot of TV shows with the Florida sunsets, and it was only a movie. When I came here, I was like, this is like a movie for me, with the palm trees and the pink sun and the
Mhm.
pink flamingos. This is like a postcard, and I was like, you know, and we could have gone to New York because of where our
Mhm.
clients were based. But then I
Okay.
was like, New York for the kids, it's too chaotic, and it's not. I just felt that coming from Rome, high pollution, traffic all the time,
Mhm.
chaos, like like it's an aggressive town. Rome is very similar to New York
It is.
vibe, and I was like, I don't want that. I don't want that for the kids.
Yeah, no, it's good for them to be outside. But you say Florida is a postcard. Everyone thinks Italy is a postcard too.
Yeah.
It's the opposite for us.
Yeah.
So you were in marketing, and then you got into TikTok because of your daughter. She was on it, and you were kind of looking at it, and then you saw the quote "horrible lasagna." I was reading through your website.
Yeah. That was actually my first viral video. Me reacting to a very badly made lasagna. And I remember
Okay.
hitting 1 million views. For me, obviously, getting on TikTok, I had, I don't know,
Hmm.
a few dozen followers. No, sorry, like
Hmm.
maybe I probably had 10,000, 20,000 followers by then.
That's a good amount.
Yeah, I I was doing, actually, if I have to remember correctly, I think I got to 20,000 because of that video started going
Mm.
viral. And at that time, even if you had one, I don't know if you remember this, but even if you had just one viral videos,
You
comparatively,
would
the
still
amount of
get.
followers you get on TikTok when you start going viral is the highest I've ever seen of any other platform.
Yeah.
Like, if you
Yeah,
have
it
a
just
video that goes
shoots.
viral, you can get hundreds of thousands of followers. And so I
Hmm.
remember like my first lasagna going viral, and my followers going up in the tens of thousands. And then I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, like, people actually really, really love this type of content. They love Italian food. They love foodies. And I didn't know that at that time, because all I could see was the dancing. There was a lot of dancing
Mm.
and trends, like doing trends
Yes,
to
I remember.
songs and audios. And I had not come across a lot of creators at that time who actually created original content. It was pretty much trends based on music, dance little routines with Charlie D'Amelio,
Right.
obviously dominating the dance.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, I think that I don't need, I can do a totally my type of content, and I think it might go. It might go. I had this certainty, and at that time I call it. It was like virgin territory, you know. It was like the conquest of Americas, where you go and you like arrive with your horse, and you're like, "This is my land."
You did it
I
though.
took my
You did
Italian flag. I'm like, "This is the pasta queen land," and I started
it.
creating videos. Now you have to understand that I don't think I can consider myself an overnight success, because to me,
Hmm.
pasta queen is being a build up of my knowledge, of my love for cooking, of my practicing in the kitchen, of my obsession with researching ingredients, with the building of my kitchen in my house. Here I am. I put a video out, and I'm not just any other cook. I come from a long line of pasta makers. I cook the Italian food a certain way. And to me that all contributed in obviously the spread of it, because I think it was like a different POV on it.
Yeah. Do you feel like now that Latino culture that you're doing this is a little bit more represented? Because you kind of took that niche and ran with it.
Yeah, I am very flattered and
Mhm.
very proud when I see a lot of other Italian creators that have copied the format.
Mhm.
And I obviously found a format that worked for
Right.
me. And then you add all the Italian kind of seeing, which is what social media is. It's a place where you see and you're like, oh, that works. That trend is going viral.
Hopefully they're tagging you if they're copying your format.
I mean, some people did at the very beginning. They're like, oh, pasta queen, creamy lemon spaghetti, or pasta queen, carbonara. And then they
Mhm.
obviously worked for them. And the very
Okay.
close up shots, the in your
Mhm.
face mixing, the like the sultry voice and dramaticness of it. I see a lot of other
Mhm.
creators from Italy or Italian American that are doing that. But
Okay.
I am also a person that gets inspired by others. So I think it's that there is such a vast amount of people in the world that
Mhm.
I don't consider
True.
it. I'm like, let's go, guys. If you got your
Mhm.
recipe, great. Let's do it together. Let's collaborate. I'm more about collaborating than competing. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah,
like,
I
I
do.
go to Italy and I'm like, to my friend Max, let's go, let's do a video. Or QCP, let's do a video. Or whoever it is, let's collaborate.
Luca, right? Is you?
Gianluca, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I remember. I love him.
Yeah, he's
He's so fun on the
funny as hell. And,
internet.
we have done a few videos together. And I'm all about collaborating, because to me, we have a lot of content creators, they have such a strong POV, and it's great to show the the mix of these different flair of content creators come together, and it's so entertaining for everybody out there, the audience that watches. I'm all about sharing and collaborating and loving and bringing more positive, fun, entertaining content out there.
Yeah, no, that's a great way of looking at it. Because I think it could get a little bit unhealthy if you kind of turn to the competitive
No,
side.
you have to. I've learned, like, obviously, I came to social media being a grown woman with
Right.
kids, right? I have 4 kids. I became
Yes.
I became the pasta queen already as a mother of 4 kids and an entrepreneur that has done several companies. I learned in my life very sacred life lessons to me that I try to inspire others. There is no competition. There's collaboration. There's collaboration
Hmm.
because there's so many people out there, 8 billion people in the world. And there's
Yeah.
no scarcity of audiences. And everybody has their own POV, and everybody can bring something to the world, and everybody has a following or an audience that would love their content.
Hmm.
Because there's
And that's
so
when
many people in the world.
there's so many. Hopefully, a bunch of them are listening to this podcast. I'm curious, actually, what you think of Americanized Italian dishes like chicken parmesan. Do you think they kind of misrepresent Italian culture because people assume that it's Italian, or do you like those kind of dishes?
Well, you see, I did a video about pineapple on pizza recently.
Oh, okay.
It's
Controversial.
not, it's very controversial. There's
Hmm.
a lot of opinions about it, and I tell you my POV on it.
Okay.
That to me, food, it tastes good to each culture based on tradition and what you've grown up eating. And it's not so much whether it tastes good for your taste buds, it's also your mind and what you have been accustomed to combining as foods.
Oh,
You see, to me, that's very
yeah.
interesting. It's like Canadians, Hawaiians, they maybe grew up eating pineapple on pizza, and then maybe they have memories as kids eating that with the people they loved.
Hmm.
Their brain and mind, it for their brain and mind, it's right. For an Italian that was born and raised in Italy, it's not right because
Hmm.
we've not grown up eating that combination of flavors.
Right. It's a sweet and
Yeah, it
savory.
doesn't mean that it couldn't become a thing in time, but it is not a tradition for us to combine pineapple and pizza. So it's kind of like your brain looks at it and goes no, even before
Hmm.
you don't even want to put it in your mouth. And it's the same with the chicken parmigiana for an Italian. They instantly go, "Oh, that's not right," but they haven't even tasted
Right.
it. It might taste
Okay.
good, or it might become a thing with time, and it might develop into a tradition, which clearly for the American Italian cuisine has.
Hmm.
But for if you go to Italy and you ask a mamma, nonna, a restaurant to make you chicken parmigiana, they will instantly reject it because
Hmm.
it's not something we're accustomed to. But I'm
That's a great
nobody to
point.
say that it won't taste good for you because you maybe your
Right.
grandmother or your mother or you have created a recipe that you share with the people that you love and you've got a lot of memories with it. I don't.
Right. I don't either.
Good. You see, or a chicken alfredo. It's very
Mm,
interesting because it's like I have been with fellow friends, Americans, and we've been at restaurants where they venture into asking for a chicken Alfredo, and the waiters
I was gonna say fettuccine
the
alfredo.
waiters get really angry, or a cappuccino after lunch is blasphemous. But it's not
Hmm.
because, I get a lot of hate, even from Italians. Like, I drink cappuccino after. I'm like, great for you. But if you go to a restaurant, it's something that is not traditional. We didn't grow up
Right.
doing as a tradition. It doesn't mean that it'll taste disgusting, because a cappuccino is
Hmm.
great, but it's
Hmm.
just not tradition.
Right. I never really understood drinking cappuccinos later in the day because the point of it is kind of to start your morning. So that never clicked with me.
Yeah, I've started this old trend of pasta queen service announcements, which are called PQSAs.
I love it.
Bring in the funny like side of things, right? Like, I know, I kind of start thinking with, oh, I've been asked about this 1,500 times. I'm gonna answer it with a video. I'm gonna create a pasta queen service
Hmm.
announcement about it, right? And I've kind of collected in the last 4 years all the most frequently asked questions, and then I'll do a video about it, and I was talking about the cappuccino, which went viral. I think it was
Hmm.
like it hit like, I don't know,
I'm pretty sure I saw that.
20 million views on Instagram, and it was featured in international newspapers in different countries.
Really?
Yeah, different countries all over the world. I ended up on the radio in Italy, on the TV, Germany, of course,
Wow.
America. BuzzFeed did a whole thing
Yeah.
on it. It was like sensationalized because of the amount of people that come to Italy, and they have been rejected by the Italians about this. And it's the old thing of, when something is new, and it violates a tradition. Italians
Hmm.
are very traditional people, and they're very slow to change their traditions.
Yes.
They're like very, very old fashioned, and you know
Slow in eating too because they appreciate
yeah.
everything.
It's definitely the land of slow food.
Hmm. I know. I appreciate that though because everything here is just so go, 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 go. It's nice to
Yeah,
just relax
yeah. I mean, I
a
was
little bit.
talking about longevity across the world. I love, probably, had I not been pasta queen, I would have probably been a nutritionist slash healers, because I grew up
Oh.
doing a lot of work with herbs and natural supplements and concoctions because of my grandmother, and the shops we own in Italy, because we have shops.
Oh, you have
Yeah, we
chocolate.
have shops. It's a chain called The Witch,
Okay.
and it's very much natural healing type things, and natural supplements, and holistic living. So I'm very much into ingredients, and that's why I talk a lot about the nutritional value of things, the properties of herbs, the properties of plants, why you don't use processed foods. I'm all about that, right? And I
Hmm.
love also bringing that extra. For me, as you know, it's all about the
The
ingredients.
flip. There's the hair flip. So iconic.
And the ingredients became such a big part, and it became viral, and people love it, and it was so loved. But for me, it was a lot deeper than just that. It was like, this is the basic of this recipe. It's all about the ingredients.
Hmm. I think that comes across too, and that's why people love you so much. I mean, the history behind ingredients is so powerful, and when you understand how to concoct a dish and understand actually what you're putting in it, it will likely come out. I don't want to say better. Maybe that's not the right word, but maybe better tasting. I don't know.
100%.
Right?
100%. And that is why we don't usually feel the need in Italy, both at home and in the restaurants, to add 15 different spices to the seasoning of anything. Because the
Mm,
ingredients, potency, flavor, and aromas are so intense that even a pomodoro and basil sauce with a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil, it's
mm,
so simply beautiful and powerful that you want to let your tomato shine because it tastes so good, it tastes so sweet. Here,
right.
I see, I was just doing a collab in LA with someone, which I'm not gonna
Oh,
say who
fun.
it is because it's gonna come out
Okay.
soon. But he was like, "This is what I put in my tomato sauce," and I'm like, "Why are you putting this? You know, why are you
Uh-huh.
putting all these dried herbs and all of this? Why don't we do it with these three ingredients that are fresh?" And he had a vegetable garden. I was like, let's go in the vegetable garden.
Yeah,
What are you
what?
doing with the shelf bottled parsley?
Yeah, what?
Yeah,
Do
I
you have trouble finding ingredients here?
not at all. Not at
No?
all. No.
Okay, that's good.
No. And I talk about it. I'm writing a new cookbook and I talk
Okay.
about it in my new cookbook. This new cookbook is going to be an incredible journey into my my style of cooking, the importance
Oh,
of
okay.
ingredients, the different dishes that span all over, and
Oh,
how to
fun.
employ it and why. And I talk about agriculture. I talk about how I give people a hack on how to find the right ingredients wherever you are.
Oh, I like that a lot. Yeah, because you would think that the transition from coming to Italy to here, the high quality ingredients are kind of harder to find. But I mean, we have
You'd be surprised how
okay.
many people in every state of America love agriculture, and
Hmm.
you just have to connect with those people in your state, in your city, in your surrounding, because there's so many people. There's a whole network of farmers across the states that really care
Hmm.
for the soil and they're really um, working to regenerate soil and to have
Hmm.
good soil to grow very high quality ingredients. And you'll be surprised how much of that there is under the surface of your grocery stores that, you know what I mean? They even
Yeah, I
provide the
do.
grocery stores with the ingredients, but you could go directly to them and work out your food deliveries and stuff, you know?
Yeah, I'm really learning that. As I talk to more people, how much they pay attention to food sourcing and regenerative farming and all of that kind of stuff. And I've noticed because farmers markets get a bad rap. I've talked about this on this podcast before, but because you think it's more expensive.
Yeah, not necessarily. You know what's more
Right.
expensive?
Hmm.
Your health.
There you go. That's very true.
It can get very expensive.
That's completely accurate. I never really thought of that.
Yeah, it can get very expensive to have to deal with problems that come from the wrong foods or bad foods, or you have to understand that you eat at least 3 times a day. Food and water are the primary energy sources for human beings.
Right.
You couldn't not drink or eat for very long.
Yeah. No, that's completely accurate.
And that is the basic. And if you think about that and you think about how much you rely upon food to survive and how you survive because of food and even your mental alertness, sometimes if you eat the wrong foods, it can make you tired, sleepy, give you fog, mental
I've been there,
fog,
yeah.
and rashes, or overload certain organs because the food is so bad that your body has to work overtime to kind of get rid of
Hmm.
the stuff that you just input in. So on the long run, like your health is it's more valuable than maybe spending one or two or three more dollars. And the bills in the States for health care are very, very high.
Ugh, I've learned that the hard way.
Yeah, they're very high.
The bills are insane. Yeah, I think I've noticed too, we're very hooked on refined sugar, especially because it's quick, it's easy, it's a snack. But I think if you just take the time to go to a farmer's market or make connections with your local farmers, then you could kind of alter your diet that way and get on natural sweets or
Yeah.
natural
I
sugars.
mean, if you think about it, it's very simple. There's no, I know that there's a lot of conspiracy theory about the foods and this and that. I don't get into that. I get into facts and logic and science. Like, if something makes sense to me, I do it. If something doesn't make sense, I don't do it. To me, anything which is
Right.
manhandled, uh, that then I have to put into my body and it's being created in a lab or whatever, it's clearly not going to be as good, a genuine, as something that grows on a tree or in the earth, right? I mean, it's kind of like, I'm like, put one and one together, like,
Hmm.
and you can see it from the way you feel as well. Like if you have a fruit smoothie, a vegetable smoothie versus a candy bar, you're gonna feel different. And to me, that's all about what feels good for your body being in touch with your body's natural intuition.
Hmm.
Listen, I'm not saying I'm perfect. It was Halloween. I
Hmm.
stuffed my face with little candies, but I felt really bad
Okay.
and I was messed up. I had a massive headache. I was feeling like nauseated for 2 days after because I just overdone it
Mhm.
on the candies. I'm a glutton for food. I love food and
Me too.
flavors, and some of these things are addictive. And that's the worst part for me because some of the
Same.
flavorings in these things can create addiction, and that's another problem that you don't want to have. That's why I'm like, stay with whole foods, like things that grew
Right.
from somewhere natural.
I do. I have an M&M issue, so I just can't let it into my household.
Yeah,
It just so bad because I can. It's so easy to just overindulge.
yeah.
I like though about your videos that you have this kind of mentality that cooking is fun and magical,
Yeah,
and that's how it kind of all comes through, and people learn
yeah.
how to cook. But I read that you intend to be the Italian Martha Stewart. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I was. I think that it's great uh, to bring Italian culture. I mean, I'm sure you agree because you're Italian like me, but I
Hmm.
think that there's a need, especially in the States, for that Italian renaissance of food and the great recipes. And I have not seen a lot of authenticity, MySpace on social media. And now there's a lot of Italian creators that are bringing that just like me. But I think for me, I would love to bring more and more of my family's legacy, the things that I love the most, my genuine secret sauces and my views on ingredients, and ultimately to make people happy, to create a sense of family and connection around the kitchen table, around the kitchen and the dinner tables, like to have that sense of coming together, multiple generations, your kids, your parents, your grandparents, your great grandparents, your cousins, your uncles, whatever, and create those magical moments where it's for the family.
Are your kids helping you cook in the kitchen more?
My kids are all incredible cooks of their own, and they all have,
Really? That's amazing.
like my son, he is a meat specialist. My daughter
Oh.
Ellie loves pasta.
Oh, me too.
My youngest loves fresh pasta making. And
Mm.
I have some stuff coming up which you're gonna like when
Mm-hmm.
they are involved.
Oh, that's so adorable that all of them can carry
Yeah,
that tradition
yeah.
on. Because that doesn't always happen.
No, I mean at first I wasn't sure I was going to bring my kids into this, and I didn't.
Yeah.
I think my first year and a half of pasta queening around the world
Mm-hmm.
was just me and my brother and my cousin. So very much adult.
Right.
Um, and then the kids, funnily enough, started their friends at school. My kids found out how well known I was from their
Mhm.
friends because they now wanted to come. Say, your mom is the pasta
Oh.
queen. I want to come to your house. So they thought it was cool. So I got
Oh.
brownie points with the
Yeah, I
kids.
was gonna say you're a cool mom.
I'm a cool mom right
Yeah.
now. I didn't used to be a cool mom, but since I'm popular on TikTok and I have a humongous young audience,
That's
um,
great.
humongous. Like when I did my book tour signing, I had 4, 5, 6 year olds up to 90-year olds. I had a
Wow.
very vast spectrum of demographic, really, and but a huge one was young kids that want to be chefs.
Um,
And they love pasta. I mean, who doesn't love pasta
yeah,
as a
who doesn't
kid?
really?
Like every kid loves pasta. So when my children's friends started saying, your mom is the pasta queen, do you know her video is going viral? And they're like, they started thinking, oh, my mom is cool. So they're like, ma, can I be in your video? And then they started wanting to
Oh, they want to do it.
participate in my videos because they realized that it wasn't just an old person's, like they think I'm old. They think I'm like
You are not old.
old. Yeah, they're like, you're old.
I think as you get older, I used to think like 30 was old. And now as
Me too.
my sister's approaching that, I'm approaching, I'm like, that is so young.
I remember when I turned 18 and I thought I was old.
Yeah,
I
that's where I'm getting
was like, I'm
it.
old. I'm 18.
No, that's when I turned 21, I was like, I'm never going to have a fun birthday again. This is
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So my kids were like, oh, ma, you and your cooking, blah, blah. And they love my food, of course, but they were like checking me doing videos and they're like, whatever, it's not cool. I'm like, now I'm like the cool mom.
You were always cool. They just took a while to realize.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you have any other upcoming projects or anything else that you'd like to speak on? I know you mentioned another cookbook.
Well, I'm working on a cookbook. I can't say much because, again, my publisher is
Yeah.
probably going to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, you know how they are. They're like, don't say anything until we announce it officially.
Right.
So I love talking about my shit, but sorry.
No, you can swear on
But I'm a
this.
cool mom.
You're a cool mom. You could swear and you make pasta.
But yeah, I am bound by people making me promise not to talk about anything unless it's out there so that we can drive people to the things, but there's a lot going on.
Yay. And you have so many videos coming up too, so people can look forward to that.
Yeah, like I have, not many people know because I am not so good at posting much about it, but I have this newsletter and I have a lot of
Do you
subscribers.
have a Rome guide? I
I
actually
have a
saw
Romy
that.
guide. People can go on my link in the IG bio and
Okay.
they should subscribe to the newsletter because in the
Mm-hmm.
newsletter, I give pieces of information and written recipes that otherwise are nowhere to be found, not even in my cookbook that I released. Because
Oh,
I
okay.
want to keep it that way. And I have a lot, hundreds of thousands of subscribers that I
Oh, no.
send 2 newsletters a week out, and they get like little perks and things that it's nowhere else, not on my website, not on my social. So I think if there was one thing, is like subscribe to my newsletters, because when there is something coming out, like when I release my merch and when I release my copper pots and pans, it
Mm-hmm.
mostly sold out on the newsletter.
Really?
I hadn't even announced, it didn't even make it to social. It's sold out on the
Wow.
newsletter.
Because those are your loyal fans that they're
The
reading
most
that.
loyal. So a lot of people write to me and say, when is your merch coming out and whatever. And I feel bad because we do limited batches because we don't know how much is going to sell of something, right? We can't
Right.
print 10,000 of something. So we have
Mm-hmm.
certain amounts of quantities limited so that we don't over purchase and over order ourselves. And
Mm-hmm.
first and foremost, it goes to my subscribers on the newsletter because they're the most loyal. And now it has happened 4 times that it sold out even before I can post it on social. And it doesn't even make it to social because I can't sell it anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I would love some pasta cream merch. I have to buy some for myself. Let's subscribe to a newsletter.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm
Basically,
already.
that's one thing that I would say. And even with limited releases or things that are coming up and special announcement, I will always aim to go a week prior to anything to go on the newsletter subscribers and release it there first, because those are the people that are the most loyal
Those are the
and
true fans.
deserve the first dibs.
Right.
First dibs.
I love it. All right. So I have a short game for you, kind of to wrap up your little podcast that I do with every guest, if you're up for it.
Yeah.
Okay. So normally I'm going to say popular foods or food trends right now, and then you'll tell me if you're for or against it, smash or pass kind of thing.
Just say for, against it. What's the quick
Sure.
answer?
Exactly. Or you could say smash or pass, whatever you
How do you
prefer.
say it? Smash or pass?
Yeah.
Isn't that to do with sex, though? I don't want to be like PG,
It does.
R-rated
Okay.
here because,
We'll do for or against. All right. First one, macaroni and cheese.
disapproved.
Really?
No.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, if I'm the first thing I thought is the boxed mac and cheese.
Oh, yeah.
That's disapproved. You can make it yourself from scratch. That would be approved.
Okay. Second one. This is more of like an action, but adding extra seasonings to a pizza at a restaurant, like Parmesan cheese or chili flakes.
Disapproved.
That's what I thought. All right. Third one, we already talked about this. It's having espresso at any hour.
Approved.
Espresso is approved?
Any hour, even at midnight, it's good.
Oh,
It's good for
okay.
you.
All right. And then cappuccino is disapproved. Got it.
Cappuccino past 11, disapproved.
Disapproved. Fourth one. This is something I actually saw, and I'm not sure if you've done it, but grilled cacio e pepe.
Which one?
It's grilled cacio e pepe.
What is that?
I just saw that. It's so interesting. So they saute it on the grill after boiling it.
What? Disapproved.
Yeah, I disapprove too. Fifth one, protein-based pastas, which is a very American thing. I feel like chicken pasta, red lentil pasta, things like
Disapproved.
that. And then sixth, we have fettuccine alfredo, which we also discussed.
Fettuccine Alfredo, there's a little controversy about this.
Mm-hmm.
They were actually born and invented by a Roman chef in the beginning of the 1900s.
I actually just talked about that recently with Jeremy Shack. He was telling me the same kind of thing.
Yeah, so I actually went and tracked down
Mm.
Alfredo's great granddaughter
Really?
in Rome. And I interviewed her, and she also shared with me the authentic recipe
Oh,
and how you
wow.
do it.
That's so cool.
So, yeah, it became popular in America because Alfredo was so good at cooking that he had a very popular restaurant amongst Hollywood actors that would be in Rome shooting for whatever reason. He was so loved as the king of fettuccine
Mm-hmm.
that when he made a specific type of fettuccine with butter and parmigiano, this Hollywood actor loved him so much, came to America, and then they would look for it.
Yeah.
They were like, we should have fettuccine Alfredo, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Alfredo style fettuccine, and then it kind of like, I think it spun off from there, and then now they add chicken, shrimps, mushrooms, but it's butter and parmigiano.
Yeah. It's so simple. Do you have a video up on that?
Yeah, I will
Okay.
send you the link.
Yeah. Please do, because I want to see that. That's so interesting to me.
Very, very.
All right. So my last question for you, if there is one cooking appliance or utensil that you think everyone should splurge on, what would it be and why?
One kitchen utensil?
Mm-hmm. Or appliance or
I think a food processor
okay.
as an appliance, and as a utensil, I would say a cheese grater.
Ooh. There's a lot of I've seen a few videos that people don't actually know how to use the cheese grater correctly.
I know. It's
Yeah.
sad.
It's just so sad.
It's sad.
And that's where we'll end it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to talk to me. I'm so glad we got to chat again. It's really fun.
Yes. Anytime.
You can check out Nadia Munno on Instagram at @the_pasta_queen or her TikTok account under the same username.
Subscribe to my newsletter.
And subscribe to her newsletter. Hey fellow foodies, thanks for listening. Don't forget to leave me a review. And while you're at it, make sure to follow me at livvinforfoodpod on Instagram or TikTok, or email me at livvinforfoodpod@gmail.com. Let me know what you're cooking up this week, which guests you would like to see on the podcast, or tell me your opinions on the latest viral food trend. Until next time,